So, hey there, if you've heard of deep learning or you've heard this analogy that deep learning is like human neurons, the human brain, I think that's beyond useless. It's actually, it adds like mystery and mystique, but it prevents us from really understanding what's going on. So I want you to forget that, forget human neurons, and I want you to look at what deep learning is really like, or observe it, or understand it, or intuit, whatever, from this one graphic. So here it is. Here it is. And the source here, this is from Francois Chalet's Deep Learning with Python. If you have not read this book, go buy a copy right now. Francois Chalet's Deep Learning with Python. This is in chapter 1. And I think this diagram is beautiful. So here's the thing that we're looking at. With deep learning, we have some input that we map to outputs. And we know that deep learning is part of machine learning. And if you saw the previous video or you've read any of these other things, you'll know that with machine learning, we don't explicitly program the computer. We don't give it the rules. We give it input data and we give it the answers and we let it infer the actual rules that connects those inputs to the outputs. And with deep learning, what we're doing is we're doing this with layers. And the key from this high level perspective, don't think human neurons that are connected and one neuron lights up and fires to the next one. I mean, nominally, but it's just what you really should think about are weights. And that's what the goal here is on the left. Find the right values of these weights. These weights are what are applied or exist, live at each layer of the neural network. And these weights are the representation of what our representation of our input data mapped to the output. So what we're trying to solve for are what are the correct weights? What's the correct representation? How do I change this input data that I have, whether it's a loan applicant or an image value, a series of images or videos or a speech that I want to transcribe? How do I take this input? How do I represent it in some way that I can map to the prediction that I want? And the way this is done is with weights. These numbers, they're going to be between 0 and 1. It's going to be a weight. So think about this instead. Instead of thinking of neural networks as these synapses and neurons and this craziness in your brain, just think of them as series of weights. And they can be represented like this once they're trained, which makes them really portable and a bunch of other really, really fun and useful things. But again, not human neurons. Just think of them as weights. Thank you, Francois Chalet. More to come on this.